2020 and 2021 caught most of the wrestling world by surprise. Putting aside the pandemic that was bearing down on the whole world, the resulting reaction from WWE changed the entire wrestling scenario for everyone. Just a month into the pandemic, when it was not sure when the company would be able to tour, and it was not easy to understand how the pandemic would play out, WWE fired a huge portion of their wrestlers, as well as laid off a large part of their staff. The cuts continued well into the next year, and even 2021 and 2022 saw some measure of cuts from the company, with top names like Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt let go. Since Triple H has taken charge of WWE though, the opposite has been true, where Vince McMahon was free with the cuts and reduced the main roster down to a core few, Triple H has hired back a huge portion of stars who had been let go. With that being the case though, in this video we will talk about WWE superstars who might be fired next by the company. Karrion Kross and Scarlet Bordeaux entered WWE with a bang, and it looked like they had it all set. The two had a great look together, and they certainly dominated NXT. However, called up to the main roster, Kross was separated from Scarlet, given an odd mask, and when he didn't get over with the crowd, both of them were let go by Vince McMahon. Within a few months of Triple H being in charge though, the pair were back, and it looked like they were ready to shake up the main roster once again. Though, other than a slight feud with Drew McIntyre and another with Rey Mysterio, the truth is they've done very little on the main roster. Their storylines have no substance, and although their presentation is excellent, once the matches start, Kross does not even look that dangerous anymore. The way that they have been booked, the losses they have taken, all of it has hurt them, and at the moment, they don't seem to matter at all. If the situation is not corrected very soon, then they might be two of the first stars to be released. Bray Wyatt might have been the most tragic fate when it comes to telling stories in WWE. Putting aside his cult character, which broke down as soon as he started to suffer meaningful losses, his charisma and the backstories of his characters have been immense. The creation of the puppets, the Firefly Funhouse, the Fiend, whoever is playing Uncle Howdy now, probably Bo Dallas, have all been excellent, and with the QR codes, the build up to each and every story has been magnificent. Then it has fallen flat every time that Wyatt has entered a ring. To carry off the supernatural character in the ring is not easy, and by using cheap supernatural tricks and putting on neon lights, the character has been cheapened. After he was originally fired by Vince McMahon and brought back by Triple H, most thought that his run this time was destined to be different, and he would deliver on being that much more of a fiendish character. Unfortunately, his only outing in the ring in the last 6 months was in a Mountain Dew pitch black match, and much like the neon lights, it just looked cheap and not worth it. It would not be a surprise at all that he is released given what has happened, and him being totally in charge of telling his own story might not be a good choice at all going forward. Braun Strowman is another figure who was released by the previous management of Vince McMahon, but has been brought back under Triple H. The monster among men being let go was probably the biggest surprise last time, with the exception of Bray Wyatt himself. But since returning, Strowman has done nothing to justify the fact that he's back in the company. After an initial rampage among superstars that led to nothing, he has seemed oddly quiet and happy with the way things are at the moment. He has teamed up with Ricochet in somewhat of a mismatch of a tag team, and the two of them have done nothing of note other than lose to the right opponents to put them over. They are in desperate need of something more, something to enliven them. Unfortunately, unless they can do that, it's more than likely that Strowman will find himself released once again. Johnny Gargano is a favorite among Triple H and anyone who was watching NXT between 2015 and 2018. The man was Mr. NXT for a reason, and his feud with Tommaso Ciampa was on another level altogether, one not easily met by anyone else. However, he appears to have hit a ceiling. While he was entertaining on NXT even after that, he was released from the company by Vince McMahon. When Triple H brought him back on the main roster, things have gone wrong for him. So far, he has been a sideline character in a Judgment Day Day feud, a feud between Miz and Dexter Lumis, and he seems to be more of a speaker than someone who is doing anything that matters. At the moment, no casual fan cares what Johnny Gargano is doing. The star has had no impact on the main roster at all, and it's showing. It might not be too long before he gets released once again, given his inability to create a meaningful impact on the show. A bit more than a year ago, multiple promos aired when Elias said he was dead and he threw his guitar into the fire. What happened was he stayed off TV for a long time, and when he came back, he did it without his beard and called himself Ezekiel, his own brother. While that was fun, it didn't last long, and he eventually came back as Elias after he grew back his beard. Since then, he has not done much other than compete against others like Bronson Reed and Rick Boogs. The feud between the two have been underwhelming, and WWE seemed to be back to the original problem they had with Elias, that other than the fact that he has a guitar, he does not really have a character or any storylines that matter. Since he has been on the show, WWE has never found an actual feud for him that meant anything at all other than being interrupted from singing. Unless something changes, Elias will be gone from WWE yet again, and this time, not even Ezekiel will be able to save him. Madcap Moss was thought to be a top star leading into 2022. Vince McMahon seemed intent on pushing him to another level, and indeed something in the superstar. When McMahon had to step down with Triple H taking charge of creative though, things changed immediately. Madcap Moss lost and just didn't appear on the show. Whenever he did appear though, it was to lose to stars on a regular basis. It seemed inevitable that the time would come that Madcap would finally start winning again, but it never happened. Instead, he was paired with a newly returned superstar and his real-life boo Emma. Unfortunately, despite the pairing between the two, neither have been successful in the ring since then. It seems inevitable that the two will continue to lose and have not even appeared for a while on shows in recent weeks. Unless they are repackaged or given a different push, neither star will be able to get the big push on the main roster and might be released instead. Hit Row looked poised to be something amazing at one point in their run. However, things have changed since then. The team are no longer as full of potential as they once were, and this might have to do with the lack of one of the top stars from their faction after they were brought back, Swerve. Swerve joined AEW and has found a level of success there. Meanwhile, since coming back, the rest of the faction has floundered, looking to find their feet and failing repeatedly. Of all the stars, B-Fab in particular does not seem to be adding much to the team. She has not been good in the ring and on the mic, and the brass seem to have spotted it with them not getting a push. While the whole of Hit Row is in danger at the moment, B-Fab might be about to be released unless something big changes in WWE soon. These were wrestlers WWE is likely to fire next. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.